abusing and refusing to grow. Shout out to my nigga Cross, man. Yeah. Hey. Okay. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. Hey. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. Hey. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. What? It's the Plug Podcast. 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 If you ain't on the team, fuck you, nigga. Get your bag. I know what I know, but I'll take like it slow. Peeping the shit, niggas be acting like hoes. All on the piano, talking about another, talking about their sister, talking about their brother. Niggas ain't real no more. Niggas ain't loyal no more. You know they don't follow the code, and that's why they getting exposed. The Keysha's taking control. They not in control of their souls. We booking them shows like Barry White. My niggas living in paradise. We building the team, the enterprise. It's the Plug Podcast. 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 If you ain't on the team, fuck you, niggas. Get to the bag. You know we hold it down. We ain't gonna play around. So I hope you stay around. Don't really make you loud. We trying to make you proud. If you do not like me, guess what? Get the fuck out.
Salute to everybody, man. We back at it like a crack at it. It's your boy Cross, man. Boss Cross, big CEO of Cross Your Hearts, man. Hey, man, all you got to do, man, you want the merch again, like I said, man, go check it out, KrossYourHeart.com. Put in the plug, you get 10% off on your order. We got specials going. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all your social media platforms, Facebook and everything. Man, I don't know if y'all saw the title or the thumbnail, but it's called Teen Mom Social Media Influence. And the reason why I put that title on there, man, it's a lot of different reasons, because I don't know if y'all know. So we got this kid, his name is Derek Rosa, right? 13-year-old kid, look like he came from a great family or whatnot. But what blew my mind was the fact that social media has these kids so influenced, man. And when I say so influenced, they got them doing all types of stuff, man. Whatever, from challenges to tattooing they names on their forehead to all types of ridiculous stuff, man. So, but this young man did something, man. So right now, this man is I think he's been charged with the murder of his mother. You know what I'm saying? And the weird and eerie part about it was he called the police. He called them and he told them what he did. And then he also said some weird stuff that was in there. And we're going to break that down about why he did what he did. And he really didn't understand why he did it. And he took pictures and sent it to social media people when he did it, not knowing no better. His mother had just had his sister, 14-day-old baby. So it's just a lot of things to it, man. So let's go ahead and get to it. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, and then y'all comment too and let me know what y'all think about this, because it's a very interesting story. So let's go.
Crime scene photos show a 13-year-old boy. Police say he murdered his mother, and before that, he's standing over her in a vulnerable position as he's getting ready to stab her to death. Derek Rosa snapped a selfie after the crime.
So this is the young man right here, Derek Rosa, right? So you saw his mom and dad look like they came from a pretty good home. So that's the dad, that's the mother that he did that to, and that's Derek right there. So again, it doesn't look like that there was a bunch of issues. Again, we don't know. You know, it could have been some stuff that was going on. Maybe he felt like the mom had the baby or something. Maybe he could have felt like he was left out or whatever. So, you know, again, that's just for us to, you know, to put our little thing on it. But at the end of the day, we don't know until this crime, and, you know, everybody's proven innocent. They're innocent until proven guilty. So at the end of the day, still got to hear from this young man. So let's keep going.
Ready to stab her to death. Derek Rosa snapped a selfie after the crime, his hands smeared with blood.
No, I'm not her. I just have a little bit of blood on my hands.
I need to know if your mom is breathing.
She's dead, miss.
Okay, and why did you do that?
There's blood all over the floor.
Where is your sister? Your sister's still there?
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping, okay.
Man, that's crazy. So he takes a selfie. Now think about this. This is what I'm saying about how social media will have these kids, and he doesn't even understand. So he done this brutal crime to his mother. After he gets done, he takes a selfie, sticks his tongue out and his hands up like, you know, like that was wonderful. That was great. And then not only did that, he started sending it to people that, you know, allegedly he's thinking that they're their friends because they're in social media, not knowing at the same time. You don't know these people from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? He only knows them because of the simple fact is they have a relationship through a chat or whatever, from video games to, you know, whatever it could be. You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me, miss, what do I do if she wakes up?
If you wake up, just let me know. I need to know. Do you think we can help your mom?
Miss, she's dead. I took pictures and I told my friends about it. Was that bad?
You told.
Listen to what he said. He said, I wanted to make, he said, no, she's gone. And he said, what do I do? See, that's what I'm saying. You kids don't understand. It's not a video game. You can't restart this no more. You can't start over. You don't get an extra lifeline. You don't get a health injection like they do on the Call of Duties. When I watch my son sit there and play it, how they, you know, they take the little injections and give it, man, you're calling on people to help you. Doesn't work like that in real life. So that's the thing about it. So now he's wondering, because now it's real life. It's done with. So now he's trying to figure out with the mother. And then now he knows that she's gone with his baby sister. Think about it. She will never get the opportunity to meet his mom because he's so influenced by social media. And that's what's sad with kids, that they would rather have a stronger interaction, or people have a stronger interaction with what's on the internet than they would have with the people that's right in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense. And a lot of these kids are going to believing that everybody on the internet, you know, that they've known them forever in life, and they have this wonderful relationship with them and all this stuff. When at the same time, it's the internet.
I took pictures and I told my friends about it. Was that bad?
You told who about it?
My friends.
Who did you send those pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because.
Now listen to that. There it is right there. So you sent some pictures to about your mother being deceased, and you don't even know his name. The only thing you know is his tag name of what he is, and you don't know if that's the real picture. You don't have no other rapport. Like, to the point, think about this. It's a 13-year-old. That's why I said it's like, it's crazy when you give a 13-year-old this much and he's thinking that he's an adult. Brain doesn't fully function and develop to the age of 25. So just imagine 13. So a lot of times, and parents have situations, maybe the dad might be a working dad. He might be working a lot, could be a traveling father. So they give, instead of them having the social connect with them face to face, the physical part, then they put this in front of them, which then now kids just read and whatever they want to come up with. Man, they say my hair is funny. There's a lot of people say that. Then they go down this rabbit hole. They said I'll grow taller because I'm this color. And they go down this rabbit hole. All different lies, again, intertwined into the, like they say, the dark web. They go deep into the dark web. And at 13 years old, he has too much access to not, because again, that shows you that kids can't determine reality from what's fiction. Again, he has got engulfed so much in this video game or social media where he's watched all this stuff. That's what kills me about social media. They will sit there and they'll show this and they'll show this and they'll show this. Anybody else trying to do anything else, they'll have a problem with that. And that's why I don't understand that. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So again, whatever influenced him, it was not having a family. Because, I mean, come on, man. Right? And a lot of people might say, well, it depends on what his mother did to him. Nothing's warranted of taking somebody's life unless somebody's trying to take yours. So I don't know what his mama could have did. Might have took his card, or that gave him an Xbox pass for the year. Or he wanted this video game, the PS5, and, you know, allegedly she didn't want to give it to him. It's a lot of things that kids at 13 don't think about with adults, or the way they mind frame things.
My friends.
Who did you send those pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because he is an online friend who I play with a lot.
Cell phone video shows the moment a teenage boy surrendered with his hands up.
His demeanor, he was very quiet, apologetic, very respectful.
See, and that's the thing right there. Think about it. He came from a good home. All his moral values kicked in. He was apologetic. You know what I'm saying? Of course, because he didn't realize, I can't get my mom back. What in the world I've done? My emotions has took over. Because again, he doesn't understand. Again, not to knock his dad. I don't, maybe his dad didn't instill some of this stuff in him or stayed on him or whatever it was. Maybe the mother was the one that was always, because dad might have been working. Maybe the mother was the only one that was there disciplining him, talking to him like that. He didn't like the way she talked to him or whatever. Maybe they had a conversation and he didn't like it. Or maybe he feel like, 13 years old, like we say to little boys, they get to feeling themselves or smelling themselves. So they think that they're bigger than what they think they are. Not in actuality, they don't realize, like, hey, bro, you're still a child. You know what I'm saying? So you could tell that the house, the way it was, not saying it because we don't know, but the way the living conditions was, and like saying it like this, wasn't like he was going off or he didn't feel it. Like even that police officer, he's looking like, it's very odd because a lot of these kids nowadays that are in these, nice communities, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a low impoverished area community. It can be in some of these nice communities where these kids have access to too much because the parents we were raised, some of us was raised, oh man, I'm not going to let my child grow up the way I did. I'm going to give them better. But at the same time, that's the gift and the curse because the more you give it to them, the more will they feel entitlement to the point where something like this can happen. Or they might say, back in the days, kid might cuss you out. Man, I hate you. I can't believe you did that. And they're crying and whining. But, it's just a temper tantrum, right? So that's the thing about it. But they don't really mean it. But to go to this extreme, to put and take the life of your mother, knowing that she just had a child 14 days, prior to that, it's just crazy.
Not what you would expect walking into that home and seeing that crime scene.
The 13-year-old, identified as Derek Rosa, is currently in secure detention. When officers arrived to Unit 201 inside the Amelia Oaks apartment complex.
Okay, so there's the apartment complex. So maybe it could have been that. Maybe it could have been the fact it was a little bit stern in the house. Maybe the fact that it wasn't enough room in the house. Because it looks like, if you really look at it, maybe it was a 3-bedroom. I don't know. But if it was a 2-bedroom, the mom was in the bed and the baby was, it was a baby's crib also in the same room. So what I'm confused about is, was he mad at the fact he maybe had to think about this? I'm just saying, I'm just playing every side. Imagine if he probably was mad that he had to give up his room. Maybe he had to make a sacrifice. He didn't want to do that. Mom, I had to give up my room. I went from having my room to now. Then also you got to think about the separation gap from 14 years. And I'm just saying allegedly from 14 years to a 14-day-old baby could have been the same dad. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he had something to get him or, because that's a big stretch in between years, especially when you're in a relationship or you're married. Like a lot of times people ain't going to do that. Usually the kids come, a year or two apart or something like that. Or if the person can't have it, or maybe they were struggling to have it or whatever. But 14 years is a big time. 13 years and then 14-day-old baby. So, it's sad.
They found the victim in her bedroom with multiple wounds, just inches from her newborn baby girl.
Next to her was a crib. And inside of that crib, a 14-day-old baby.
See, that's what I'm saying. So inside of that crib was a 14-day-old baby. Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, like that's crazy. That is crazy. And I want to go back here. So let's go back here with this situation right here. This one right here is very disturbing, right? And again, this is for educational purposes only. What warranted for and no, it looks like, I mean, I'm not going to say that, but it looks like maybe that is the parents' bedroom because, you can tell the bed size or something like that. But what warranted him to do that. Like, think about it, man. And here's the crazy part about it. This was so crazy. He did call, right? Because again, he did call because he knew he did something wrong. That's what I'm saying, the difference when it kicked in. But it didn't kick in because he went off emotion instead of logic because at the age he's at. So also you got to take in consideration is that the only thing that if he hadn't said nothing right, if he was wrong, was look at it, the baby camera. The baby camera caught him doing it. But then he turned around and he didn't know that the baby camera was really present there. But he also took a picture and sent it, you know, the pictures of his mother to the social media platform, which is crazy. So let's check this out.
His mother. And before that, he's standing over her in a vulnerable position as he's getting ready to stab her to death. Derek Rosa snapped a selfie.
See what I'm saying? 13 years old, y'all. And this is the new generation right now. You know what I'm saying? Not saying all, not all, but most. This is the new generation. So for him to think at 13 years old, he was getting props or clout by taking his mother's life away. He doesn't even realize it. He doesn't realize they can't go back home. And this is for all you young kids out there. I know a lot of y'all watch me. A lot of y'all 13 years old. Man, it's not, nothing is that serious in social media, bro, that you're willing to do something. And I'm telling you, like, that's the reason why I'm pushing this stuff is because you kids don't realize the repercussion and the consequences. And a lot of times you only do what your options allow you to do. And a lot of times y'all think y'all parents are on y'all and y'all don't understand because y'all have access to a lot of things. The sad part is no one gives y'all a cutoff point. Because again, a lot of our parents in our age bracket aren't that tech savvy. So instead of running to it, like I've done, a lot of them run away from it. So they say, oh man, it's just pictures and social media that they're on. They don't realize that there's all types of people that's on social media. You got Chesters on social media. You got all types of people. You know, you got the stalker kinds. You got everything that are there to prey and prance on these. So my thing is, what's bothering me too also about this situation is where he gets to when he says this. This is what's bothering me. The fact that he says, I sent it to my friend, but he doesn't know who that friend is. And guess what happens? That friend just, this is what these kids don't understand. Just because somebody's connected to you doesn't make them a friend. What separates a real life friend from somebody on here? Right? And then one thing that my guy Josh said, a lot of times people don't realize you have to meet somebody to build a rapport with them, to know how they are. Because a lot of times if you do meet somebody, you might not have that same rapport in real life versus it would be. Because again, it's not necessarily superficial. It's just like you're trying to find a connect. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching a movie and you're screaming at the TV, knowing that the movie has already been made. The movie was directed, it was made, it was put together way before they even dropped it. A lot of times a year or two before they even drop it. So then when we get in there, we're actually living in the past instead of in the present. Because, and the irony is a lot of the movies do past stuff, but it's already done, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm saying. So a lot of these kids don't have perception of time. The only time they get their info, it's off of social media because they won't go and do the further research. You know what I'm saying? So for him to do that, he's completely disconnected because he doesn't even understand what a friend is. So for him to feel that confident, so my question is, and it's sad because would that friend or that person he called a friend on there influence him? That's where the influence part come in at. Because if you don't know, someone can influence you. Maybe their intent could be good. Maybe their intent could be bad. Who knows? But if someone's there to influence you and the path is not the same, then that makes sense. But a lot of people, like especially these young kids, they don't realize people want to see you crash out. People want to see you crash out at the most. And you're just another content and you're on to the next content. You're feeding the addiction of the drug. So for this young man right here, it's sad at 13 years old. And that's why I watch my kids when it comes to their phones and social media, and we put like, okay, so understand something. If the parents, and again, I understand this with the trust, but the old saying is trust but verify, right? Trust but verify. All you do in life, trust but verify. So if you trust and verify, and you can see it from that point of view, is one, the parents should at least have some type of mobile device on there at 13. And that's just me. I have it, my son, my daughter has it on theirs. They have a mobile device where we can do a history. Because a lot of times kids are not going to tell you what social media platforms they're on. They might give you the ones they want, but then they might create other emails. They even do it on our, as adults on social media. They create a bunch of different fictitious avatars and emails, whether they trolling, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But my thing is, that's where the disconnect is. And we got to start telling these kids, like, man, you cannot be influenced by somebody that, again, was connected with you based off of that fact, unless you are building a rapport and learning to branch out. You get what I'm saying? So this is a prime example, you young kids, not to get yourself too involved. You know what I'm saying? And I say it all the time, whether people, you know, I say the internet, hey, man, it's not real, meaning as in, hey, man, this stuff is not real, because in this situation, a real person would not allow, in the physical, would not allow this young man to crash out. And there are people out there that's in the physical who allow you to do that. But what happens is you will be able to tell whether they're trying to or not. How can he tell if he's only getting a DM from somebody, or, you know, whatever the case may be? So this is what's so crazy to me.
After the crime, his hands smeared with blood.
No, I'm not hurt. I just have a little bit of blood on my hands.
I need to know if your mom is breathing.
She's dead, miss.
Okay, and what did you do then?
There's blood all over the floor.
Where is your sister? Your sister still there?
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping, okay.
Yeah. Excuse me, miss, what do I do if she wakes up?
If you...
I mean, think about that, man. It sounds like how my son would ask those questions, like young men questions, you know, what do I do? Like, he hadn't even had the opportunity to interact with her. Maybe it could have been that. Maybe it could have been the fact, like, dang, mom's paying too much attention. She's 14, I don't know. Because it seemed like maybe he didn't have a chance even, because, I mean, now he will never get the chance. And, you know, it's sad because a situation like this, it gives a whole domino effect. With his baby sister grow up living with regrets. With the father end up being a part of his life, even though that happened. Would the father think that it was his fault? Would he try to make amends? As she get older, would she forgive her brother? Because she never got the chance to meet her mother. So it's a lot of different things. A lot of different things.
Wake up, just let me know. I need to know, do you think we can help your mom?
She's dead. I took pictures and I told my friends about it. Was that bad?
See, listen what he said. I took pictures of it and then I told my friends about it. Was it bad? Like, he doesn't even get the concept of like, almost like, I don't know, weird, like almost like in this rap world, like his mom was an op or something, and I'm gonna take a picture of my op, that type of thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you see like the confusion that's going on with this child? Like, again, you gotta remember, he's a teenager, just turned a teenager, he's 13.
You told who about it?
My friends.
Who did you send those pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because he is an online friend.
See, I don't even know if he's a real friend. He's just an online friend. I don't even know his real name. So, yeah, man, this is crazy, man. And you kids, man, you got to understand, man. There's a lot of people that's out there nowadays and never know that person, again, could have influenced him to do it. Man, forget that, man. Man, take it, you know what I'm saying? Do this to moms, man. Man, she don't care and stuff like that. Man, all it takes is for him to be caught up on emotion, him sitting around feeling like he's not loved or whatever, or maybe he could feel like a brat, or maybe he had to feel like I had to take on the responsibility. Now all the attention's not on me. You know, what it could have been a plethora of many different things, but the sad thing about it is that's your mother. Like back in the days when we were growing up And I was just telling somebody this, is that, you know, you was like a set of mama's boy, you know, like what Pop said, you wanted to felt good to put money in your mailbox. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff when rent was due. You know what I'm saying? These kids nowadays, these young boys don't have the attachment like the mama's boy, because to me, the social media has took over the nurturing part for them to go do it versus how mama would talk to them. But then mama's trying to live her life at the same time. And mama's at this age and now she wants to have a baby because she wants to be with the man and show to him he wants to have a baby. But then at the same time, you got a 13-year-old that's out there saying, maybe, again, I don't know. I don't know if that was his father or not, but I just think it's very unfortunate that the one that we do know that was the father of was at least the 14-day-old little girl. And we do know that he is related to the mother. He's related to the mother and to, you know, to the 14-year-old, his sister. You know what I'm saying? So Derek was, and unfortunately, there's a lot of Dereks out there. There's a lot of Dereks that are confused. They're going through this, you know, what they call identity crisis stage, where they're trying to find themselves. And the influence, again, through social media and everything else, bombards them. You know, and I have to get my son off there, prime example, when he's on there. And I get it now. We think as adults we're surfing the web. No, kids surf and dive, and they everywhere all through the web. They constantly have the phone to the point where they don't even recognize or hear you, to the point where I've heard a lot of people say that they, in order to get a hold of their kids, they have to DM them or they have to message them. And it's a lot of people that I know like that. You know, like you say, I'm from the old school, you know, like, come on, bro, like pick up the phone. You can call me, you know. So that's why I said a lot of kids got so detached from what's real and what's not real, to the point where they feel like if you're not liking what they do, or with their friends, if you're not liking what they do or what they say or whatever, they take that, they take it to heart. But they have to realize a lot of this stuff is geared to keep drama into the algorithm. It's to keep different things in the algorithm. So by him taking that picture, we don't know if that picture, think about it, that all that person gonna do that knew he was gonna do it, probably took those pictures and then threw it out there in social media so to go viral. And they got the content off of it. And that's how it goes. And he don't realize his life is gone. Think about this. When he go in there at the age right there, if no one's there to support him and they cut him off and basically, hey, you shun away and you're in there forever, his learning capacity will stay just that. And he'll steady be confused. And then he's going to pick up all these other things, because if he's so much of an influence in social media, when he goes to jail or goes to prison or goes to a boys' camp, he's going to be highly influenced. Because there's going to be somebody in there going to say, man, I can't believe I heard you did that, man. It's crazy. And he'll be like, yeah. And they be like, man, it's that, man. He might have some weird little kid that's going through some problems or having a mental health issue and be like, yeah, man, I wish I could have did that. Now he started feeling himself, the fact that he feel like he did something right. So imagine if nobody checks him and tells him and sits down and tells him what he did wrong through life, he's going to agree with the majority. So if the majority says, especially in a prison or a boys' camp, if that's what he's getting, man, he's crazy. Man, he's this, and this. And he's going to feed off of that because he's influenced. Because you have to be an influenced person in order to do that, and then take pictures of your mother, knowing that your mother was asleep, and then say, nothing's wrong with me. What do I do with my little sister? You know, it's that little sister is the one. See, it's almost like he had 13 years to be with the person that the little sister didn't have, except, let me tell you how that's almost like they said, like a parallel universe, you know what I'm saying? It's the fact that in a parallel universe, 14 is more than 13. So she spent one day longer than he did in numbers, but he spent 13 years of her life and she only got a chance to spend 14. And that's crazy. So she was with her mother for 14 days. He was with his mother for 13 years. And she didn't get a chance to even spend nothing, not even to understand or walk. She's not going to know what it's like to see what her mama looked like, whether her mom was, breastfeeding her or whatever the case may be. And the sad part, let me tell you, this is what got me, was the fact that his mom had to make a sound. And you know what I'm saying? And the way God does and protects babies, man, think about it. The baby was still sound asleep through the whole thing. Through the mama probably fighting and blood everywhere. And like they said, it was horrific when they walked in there. And just imagine the baby was sound asleep peacefully. That's crazy to me. That's why this story is just wild to me. Like, think about that. Why he was doing this to his mother. The baby was sound asleep. He even said it after. He said, no, she's asleep. What do I do if she wake up? Thank God that the woman was on there. Maybe thank God that, and again, him being young and panicking and not knowing or just flipped out. Imagine if his sister woke up and got to screaming. What would he have done? That's why I said this is very, very, like, it's really sad, man. And when you see these things and you see these young people, they don't realize, man, it's deeper than that. It starts with social media, it starts with video games, social media is a phone, going down the rabbit hole, influence from people at your school, influence from these rappers, what you see on there, they talk drill music, all the stuff that comes right back to when you look at it. And like I tell people, it's not a black-white thing, it's a mental health thing. These young kids play the same video games as a black person, white person, any other culture that's out there. So how is it that they're getting to all of them? They're looking to get to the masses. They're looking to go after the next generation. And these young kids, like 13 years old, are taking their parents out and they taking other people out with no remorse. And it's all in the love of social media or them being influenced by video games. So, that's all my spew on that, man. So again, y'all go check out this story. The young man is Derek Rosa. RIP to his mother. It's unfortunate, 14-year-old baby growing up without her mother, father, or the daughter's dad. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it could be. Maybe they were married or whatever the case may be. But the sad part is to know that the fact that there were some other hidden issues with this young man. And instead of having communication, like I tell everybody, 100% of communication. My dad said 85% communication, other 15% is BS. The sad part is we operate off the 15% before the 85. So again, let's start communicating. Let's start talking. Let's start seeing what your kids doing. And, spend that time, that quality time of getting an understanding of them, because maybe this could have been prevented. Maybe instead of handing him that video game or handing him that phone or allowing him to have access to this, you could have found out, why does he want to go over there? Why does he want to have access to this? So again, it goes both ways, man. But on that note, I want to say thank y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe down at the bottom, man. Tell me what y'all think about this, man. And again, man, I just want to say I appreciate everybody, and y'all been plugged in with the Plug Podcast by KrossYourHeart. Peace.
Winning team. A lot of you fuck niggas is losing and accusing and refusing to grow. Shout out to my nigga Cross, man. Yo. Hey. Okay. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. Hey. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. Hey. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. It's the Plug Podcast. What? It's the Plug Podcast. 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 If you ain't on the team, fuck you, nigga. Get your bag. I know what I know, but I'll take like it's slow. Peeping the shit, niggas be acting like hoes. All on the panel, talking about another, talking about their sister, talking about their brother. Niggas ain't real no more. Niggas ain't loyal no more. You know they don't follow the code, and that's why they they getting exposed. The key shots taking control. They not in control of their souls. We booking them shows like Barry White. My niggas living in paradise. We built